In the 1st century AD, the Roman Empire controlled the Mediterranean. They had conquered nations. They had built roads. They had created the most powerful civilization the world had ever seen. But there was one problem they could not solve. They could not sleep. Roman soldiers returned from battle with minds that would not quiet. Merchants lay awake, worrying about their cargo. Senators tossed through the night, tormented by politics and betrayal. Even emperors, who could command armies and reshape borders, could not command their own minds to rest. And so, the Romans did something extraordinary. They built a trade route, not for gold, not for spices, not for silk. They built a trade route for a humble root that grew wild in the forests of Gaul, a route that would change the history of sleep forever. That route was Valerian. For over 2,000 years, Valerian has been the most trusted natural sleep remedy on earth. It has been used by Roman soldiers, medieval monks, Native American healers, and modern grandmothers. It has survived the fall of empires, the rise of pharmaceuticals, and the relentless march of modern science. And now, science has finally caught up to what the ancients knew all along. But here is what most people never realize. The mechanism behind Valerian is more fascinating than anything you have ever heard. It does not just make you drowsy. It actually changes how your brain processes stress. It interacts with the same receptors as prescription sleep medications, but in a completely different way. And it is available to anyone who wants it, without a prescription, without side effects, and without the dependency that comes with pharmaceuticals. Today, we are going to walk through the entire story. The Roman trade routes, the ancient wisdom, the scientific rediscovery, and the practical steps you need to take right now to finally get the sleep you have been missing. Let us start at the beginning. The valerian plant is called Valeriana officinalis in Latin. It is a flowering plant that grows throughout Europe, Asia, and parts of North America. It produces clusters of small pink or white flowers and a thick, knotted root that has been used for medicine for over 2,000 years. The earliest recorded use of valerian comes from ancient Greece. The physician Dioscorides, who served in the Roman army, wrote extensively about valerian in his Encyclopedia of Herbal Medicine. He prescribed it for insomnia, anxiety, and nervous tension. He called it the quieting root because it could calm even the most restless mind. But it was the Romans who truly elevated valerian to legendary status. The Roman naturalist Pliny the Elder wrote about valerian in his Natural History, one of the most comprehensive encyclopedias of the ancient world. He described it as a remedy for sleeplessness and nervous disorders. He noted that it was particularly effective for soldiers who struggled to sleep after battle. The Roman physician Galen, who treated gladiators and emperors, recommended valerian for tension headaches and nervous exhaustion. He prescribed it to patients who could not sleep because of worry, grief, or overwork. He observed that valerian did not force sleep. It invited it. It removed the barriers that kept sleep away. But the Romans did more than just write about valerian. They created a trade network specifically for it. Valerian grew wild in the forests of Gaul, which is now modern-day France. The Gauls had been using it for generations. They knew it worked. The Romans, ever practical, saw an opportunity. They established trading posts, built roads, and created a supply chain that brought valerian from the forests of Gaul all the way to the cities of Rome. Think about what that means. They did not do this for spices or precious metals. They did it for a root that helped people sleep. This was not just a medicine. It was a commodity of immense value. Roman soldiers carried valerian on campaigns. Roman merchants shipped it across the Mediterranean. Roman households kept it in their cabinets as a trusted remedy for restless nights. And the tradition continued long after Rome fell. In medieval Europe, valerian was a staple in every monastery garden. Monks used it to calm their minds before prayer. Travelers used it to sleep in unfamiliar beds. Mothers used it to soothe restless children. In Native American traditions, valerian was used for similar purposes. Indigenous healers recognized its power to quiet the mind and bring restful sleep. They prepared it as a tea, a tincture, and a poultice. Across cultures and centuries, Valerian was the default sleep remedy for most of human history. It was more trusted than anything else. It was more accessible than anything else. And it worked better than anything else. But then, something happened that nearly erased Valerian from history forever. To understand why Valerian works, you need to understand how sleep works. Sleep is not just a switch that turns off your brain. It is a complex process involving multiple systems, neurotransmitters, and brain regions. One of the most important systems is the GABA system. GABA stands for gamma-aminobutyric acid. It is a neurotransmitter that inhibits brain activity. Think of it like a brake pedal. When GABA binds to its receptors, it slows down neural firing. It reduces anxiety, calms the mind, and promotes sleep. Pharmaceutical sleep medications like benzodiazepines and non-benzodiazepines work by increasing GABA activity. They bind to the GABA receptors and force them open. This is effective, but it comes with risks. Dependence, tolerance, withdrawal. Next day, grogginess. These drugs force the brake pedal all the way down. Valerian works differently. Valerian contains a class of compounds called valerianic acids. These compounds bind to the same GABA receptors as pharmaceutical drugs, but they do not force the receptors open. They gently modulate them. They support the natural GABA system without overwhelming it. Think of it like this. A pharmaceutical sleeping pill is like someone slamming the brake pedal to the floor. It stops the car immediately, but it also causes wear and tear. Valerian is like a skilled driver who gently applies the brakes. The car stops smoothly, and there is no damage. This is why Valerian does not cause dependence. It does not force the brain to do anything. It supports the brain's natural ability to relax and fall asleep. But there is another layer to this story. Valerian does not just work on GABA. It also contains compounds that interact with serotonin receptors and adenosine receptors. Serotonin is the neurotransmitter that regulates mood and sleep. Adenosine is the compound that builds up in your brain throughout the day and makes you feel sleepy. Valerian is not a single-action compound. It is a multi-action herb. It works on multiple systems simultaneously. It does not just force sleep. It creates the conditions for sleep to happen naturally. And here is the detail that should stop you cold. Most over-the-counter sleep medications take effect immediately. But Valerian takes time. It does not work the first night. It works after 2 weeks of consistent use. This is because Valerian is not forcing anything. It is restoring balance to your brain. It is retraining your GABA system to work properly. It is a long-term solution, not a quick fix. Think about what that means. The Romans knew this. They did not expect Valerian to work overnight. They expected it to work over time. They understood that sleep is not just about a single night. It is about the entire pattern of rest and recovery. And they were right. Modern science has confirmed that Valerian is most effective when taken consistently over several weeks. The benefits build over time. The sleep quality improves gradually. The brain learns to relax naturally. But there is another thing that most people get wrong about Valerian. Now let us go back to the Romans. Why did they build a trade route specifically for Valerian? The answer is both simple and profound. They needed sleep, but they also understood something about Valerian that most people still do not understand today. Valerian is not a plant that grows everywhere. It grows in specific conditions. It requires rich, moist soil and partial shade. It is abundant in certain regions and scarce in others. The Gauls knew where to find it. They had been using it for generations. They had developed methods for harvesting, drying, and preparing the root. The Romans, as they expanded their empire, encountered Valerian and recognized its value. They saw that the Gauls were using it for sleep. They saw that it worked, and they wanted it for themselves. But acquiring Valerian was not simple. The Gauls were not part of the empire. They were independent tribes. The Romans had to negotiate, trade, and sometimes conquer. They established trading posts along the Rhine. They built roads through the forests. They created a system that brought Valerian from the wild to the cities of Rome. This is where the story gets interesting. The trade route for Valerian was not just about commerce. It was about something more important. It was about a shared understanding that sleep is essential. The Romans and the Gauls, despite their conflicts, agreed on one thing: sleep matters. And so, the Valerian trade route became a symbol of that agreement. It was not about gold or silver. It was about human health. As the empire grew, the trade route expanded. Valerian traveled from Gaul to Rome, from Rome to Greece, from Greece to Egypt. It became a staple of Roman military campaigns. Soldiers carried Valerian on long marches. They used it to sleep after battles. They used it to calm their nerves before combat. Think about what that means. Roman soldiers, who conquered the known world, relied on a route to help them sleep. They did not have pharmaceuticals. They did not have melatonin. They had Valerian, and they trusted it. The trade route was maintained for centuries. Even as the empire declined, the knowledge of Valerian persisted. It was preserved by monks, herbalists, and healers. It was passed from generation to generation, from culture to culture. And then, something unexpected happened. In the 20th century, pharmaceutical companies began developing synthetic sleep medications. They were highly effective. They were also highly addictive. Doctors prescribed them widely. Patients used them regularly. The pharmaceutical industry made billions of dollars. Valerian, meanwhile, was mostly forgotten. It was dismissed as a folk remedy, a relic of a less enlightened time. It was not studied in laboratories. It was not prescribed by doctors. It survived only in small pockets of traditional knowledge. But then, something changed. In the 1990s, a handful of scientists began to wonder. They had heard the stories. They knew Valerian had been used for centuries, and they wanted to know if there was any truth to it. What they found was remarkable. Clinical trials confirmed that Valerian improves sleep quality. It reduces the time it takes to fall asleep. It increases the amount of deep sleep. It reduces nighttime awakenings. A 2000 study published in the journal Sleep Medicine compared Valerian to a placebo. The participants who took Valerian reported significantly better sleep quality. They fell asleep faster. They slept more deeply. They woke up feeling more rested. Other studies have confirmed these findings. A 2006 meta-analysis reviewed 16 clinical trials. It concluded that Valerian is effective for improving sleep quality without the side effects associated with pharmaceutical sleep medications. A 2015 study compared Valerian to the prescription sleep medication Zolpidem. The Valerian group had similar improvements in sleep quality, but without the dependency risk. And the research is ongoing. Scientists are now studying Valerian for anxiety, stress, and nervous disorders. They are exploring its potential as a natural alternative to benzodiazepines. But here is the detail that most people miss. Valerian is not a quick fix. It does not work immediately. It takes time, and this is exactly why it is so powerful. It works with your body, not against it. It supports your brain's natural processes. It does not force sleep. It invites it. Think about what that means. The Romans knew this. They did not expect immediate results. They understood that sleep is a process, not a quick fix. Modern science has confirmed that Valerian is most effective when taken consistently over several weeks. The sleep quality improves gradually. The brain learns to relax naturally. The benefits are lasting. And it does all of this without the side effects that come with pharmaceuticals. Now, let us talk about how to use Valerian properly. If you want to use Valerian for sleep, here is what you need to know. First, choose the right form. Valerian is available as tea, tincture, capsules, and dried root. Each form has its advantages and disadvantages. Tea is the most traditional form. It is simple, accessible, and safe. But it is also the least concentrated. You need to drink a lot of it to get the full effect. Tincture is a liquid extract. It is more concentrated than tea. It is absorbed quickly into your system. It works faster, but it has a strong, earthy taste that some people find unpleasant. Capsules are the most convenient form. They are portable, easy to take, and have a standardized dosage. They are ideal for people who travel or who do not like the taste of tea or tincture. Dried root can be used to make tea or tincture. It is the most economical option, but it requires more preparation. The best form depends on your preferences and lifestyle. If you want a quick, simple option, choose capsules. If you enjoy the ritual of making tea, choose dried root. If you want fast absorption, choose tincture. Second, find the right dosage. For tea, steep 1 to 2 teaspoons of dried valerian root in hot water for 10 to 15 minutes. Drink it 30 to 60 minutes before bed. For tincture, follow the dosage instructions on the product label. Most tinctures recommend 1 to 2 milliliters. For capsules, the recommended dosage is usually 300 to 600 milligrams. Start with the lower dose and increase gradually if needed. Third, be patient. Valerian does not work the first night. It works after 2 weeks of consistent use. Do not expect immediate results. Do not give up after a few nights. Give it time. Think of it like a prescription. You would not expect an antidepressant to work overnight. You would not expect a blood pressure medication to fix everything in one day. The same is true for Valerian. It is a long-term solution, not a quick fix. Fourth, time it correctly. Take Valerian 30 to 60 minutes before bed. This gives your body time to absorb the compounds and start working. Do not take it too late. Valerian takes time to work. If you take it right before bed, you may not feel the full effect. Give yourself enough time. Fifth, create a consistent routine. Your body thrives on routine. Take Valerian at the same time every night. Combine it with other sleep hygiene practices. Avoid screens before bed. Create a calming environment. Establish a regular sleep schedule. Valerian works best when it is part of a holistic approach to sleep. It is not a magic bullet. It is a tool. Now, here is something else that matters for certain people. There are a few things most people get wrong about Valerian. First, they expect it to work the first night. This is the most common mistake. People take Valerian once, do not feel anything, and give up. They assume it does not work. They move on to something else. But Valerian is not an immediate sleep aid. It is a long-term solution. It works by restoring balance to your brain. That takes time. It takes consistency. If you want Valerian to work, you need to take it for at least 2 weeks. Do not judge it after one night. Give it time. Let your brain adjust. Let the compounds accumulate. The benefits will build gradually. Second, people take the wrong dose. Some people take too little. They use the lowest possible dose and do not feel anything. They assume it does not work. Other people take too much. They think more is better. They take a large dose and feel groggy the next morning. The key is to find the right dose for your body. Start low. Increase gradually. Pay attention to how you feel. Third, people expect Valerian to cure everything. Valerian is not a cure for every sleep problem. If you have chronic insomnia caused by stress, anxiety, or trauma, Valerian can help. But it is not going to fix everything overnight. Valerian is most effective for people who have trouble falling asleep because of a racing mind. It helps quiet the thoughts. It helps relax the body. It helps create the conditions for sleep. But it is not going to cure long-term sleep disorders on its own. Fourth, people ignore the side effects. Valerian is generally safe, but it can have side effects. Some people experience mild stomach upset. Others report vivid dreams. Some people feel groggy the next morning. These side effects are usually mild and temporary. But if you experience severe side effects, stop taking Valerian. Talk to your doctor. Fifth, people take Valerian with other medications without asking their doctor. Valerian can interact with other medications. It can increase the effects of sedatives. It can interact with antidepressants. It can interact with blood pressure medications. If you are taking any medications, talk to your doctor before using Valerian. It is not worth the risk. Now, there is one more thing to consider. Valerian is not for everyone. If you are pregnant or breastfeeding, talk to your doctor before using Valerian. There is limited research on its safety during pregnancy. If you have liver disease, talk to your doctor before using Valerian. The compounds in Valerian are metabolized in the liver. If you have a history of addiction, talk to your doctor before using Valerian. It is not addictive, but it can interact with other substances. For everyone else, Valerian is one of the safest and most effective natural remedies available. Now let us step back and look at the big picture. So what do you do with all of this? Here are 3 things to remember about Valerian. First, Valerian works. It is not a placebo. It is not a trend. It is a scientifically proven, historically validated remedy for sleep problems. It works on the GABA system. It reduces the time it takes to fall asleep. It increases the amount of deep sleep. It reduces nighttime awakenings. If you are tired of lying awake at night, Valerian is one of the most effective tools you can add to your sleep routine. Second, patience is essential. Valerian does not work the first night. It works after 2 weeks of consistent use. Do not expect immediate results. Do not give up after a few nights. Give it time. Trust the process. The Romans knew this. They did not expect Valerian to work overnight. They understood that sleep is a process. They understood that consistency matters. Now you know it too. Third, sleep is not just about one night. It is about the entire pattern of rest and recovery. Valerian is not a magic bullet. It is a tool. It works best when you combine it with good sleep hygiene. Avoid screens before bed. Create a calming environment. Establish a regular sleep schedule. Valerian can help you fall asleep, but it cannot help you if you are staring at a screen until midnight. It cannot help you if you are drinking caffeine late in the day. It cannot help you if you are living in chronic stress. Use Valerian as part of a holistic approach to sleep. Your body will thank you. One more thing. Remember what the Romans knew. They built a trade route for a route because they understood that sleep is essential. They understood that a person who cannot sleep cannot function. They understood that sleep is not a luxury. It is a necessity. That understanding has not changed. You need sleep. Your body needs rest. Your mind needs recovery. Valerian can help. If this opens something up for you, do something with it. Share it with someone who needs it. Someone who is tired of lying awake at night. Someone who needs to know that there is something that actually works. Thank you again for your time. God bless you. And we will see you in the next one.